Hey guys, another Chapter 5, Section 2 video coming at you here. Big essential question is how can I tell if two ratios are a proportion? So how can we tell if two ratios are a proportion? And we're just going to jump right into it. So we know that a proportion is two fractions that are equal to each other. And for our first problem in our notes, we're going to take 8/10 and 16/24, and we're going to decide, are they proportional or are they not? And one strategy for doing this is putting them in what we call simplest form. We could simplify the fractions all the way down to see if they match. So let's do that. Let's take 8/10 and 16/24 and write them down and divide them down smaller. Because 8 and 10 would divide by 2. That would work. 8 divided by 2 would give you 4, and 10 divided by 2 would give you 5. What could we divide 16 and 24 by? We could divide by 2, but something bigger is we could divide by 8. 16 divided by 8 is 2, and 24 divided by 8 is 3. So we can get this all the way down to 2/3. Now these fractions don't match. 4/5 and 2/3 are different fractions. So if they're not equal, then this is not a proportion. And that is one of our strategies for deciding are two fractions proportional. But can we solve it another way? Can we have another strategy? Do we always have to simplify our fractions? And the answer is no, there are other ways. Watch how I could have done this problem a second way. 8/10 and 16/24 are fractions. And in algebra, what do fractions mean? Fractions mean divide. 8/10 actually means 8 divided by 10. We could grab a calculator and we could type in 8 divided by 10. We'd get 0.8 as our decimal. So I'm going to write that down. 0.8 is what my calculator gave me. That means I could do the same thing with 16/24. I could grab a calculator and I could type in 16 divided by 24. And what do I get on my calculator? I get this crazy decimal, 0.66666 repeated. Notice on my calculator on the screen, there's a little 7 at the very end. That's my calculator rounding up. It's not actually a 7. The real number is 0.6 repeated. It's just going 66666 forever. But the calculator screen runs out of space, so it rounds up the last digit. So when I write my answer, I'm going to write 0.6 repeated with a line above it. And then again, we look to see if these are equal. Those are not equal decimals. So again, I know, hey, this is not proportional. So we actually have two ways of solving. We can simplify the fraction, or we could grab a calculator and divide the fractions to see if the decimals match up. Let's try it with this example. 15/25 and 45/75. I'm going to take both those fractions and I'm going to use my calculator and divide. I'm going to do 15 divided by 25. You should try it in your calculator and make sure we're getting the same decimals. It's good to practice. So 15 divided by 25, I got 0.6. I hope you did too. And then I'm going to do 45 divided by 75 in my calculator. And I'm going to get 0.6. Same decimal. They match up. What does that mean? They're equal? This is, yes, a proportion. We found a proportional relationship. Now, if I was to stop right here, I'm good. I've got my answer. But if I decided, you know what, I'm going to do it the other way also. I'm going to simplify the fractions and prove that they're equal. That might be my level 4 work, my advanced level 4 work, where I'm not only dividing it down to decimals, but I'm also simplifying fractions. I'm showing two different ways of solving. So just giving you an idea of how you could go for the extra level 4. Why don't you try? I'm going to give you a you try problem. Take these two fractions, grab a calculator, hit the pause button on your device, and see if these are equal. Go ahead. Okay, you're unpausing the video. You've used your calculator. You're ready to check your solution. You've typed in 11 divided by 18. 11 divided by 18 is kind of a weird decimal on the calculator. It is 0.6111 repeated. So we're going to write 0.6, and then we're going to put a little line over the 1 because the 1 is repeated over and over and over again. And then we're going to type in 3 divided by 5 on our calculator, which is just 0.6 with no repeating decimal. So they don't match up. They're close, but they're not equal. They're not the exact same. So if they're not equal, they are not proportional. Hopefully that's what you got too. And if you didn't, I want you to play with your calculator a little bit. See if you can figure out where your mistake was. Sometimes people type it in backwards, like instead of the 11 divided by 18. Sometimes people put the 18 in first accidentally. So just check and see because you want to make sure you can do this. Alright guys, we're going to wrap up this video here. Just remember, a proportion is two equal ratios. That means two equal fractions. And you can simplify the fractions to see if they're equal, or you can divide the fractions to see if the decimals are equal. You have two strategies. Pick the one you like the best and use it, or use both. It's kind of up to you. Alright, thanks for watching guys. I'll see you in the next video.